This might be a bit out there, but hear me out because I have some stories to tell. I'm a New England Anon. Lived in and around small town NH/Ma for most of my life. I have a friend who moved out to an even more remote small town up in the sticks of New Hampshire, and I've driven out there to see him. The only good way to get there is to go through the small town of Hillsborough, which requires hopping on the very obscure Route 149 that goes from Weir NH up into and through Hillsborough. For those unfamiliar with the area, all of you I reckon, this isn't really a highway like an interstate. Hell, it isn't even much like other routes. That area of southern NH is surprisingly hilly and wild. The route wraps around sharp inclines and passes by various swamps and dark woods. The woods of New England are usually thick at right on the sides of the road, but when driving this route at night, the only times I have, it's obnoxious how upon you the woods become. I recall having an aunt from West Texas who proclaimed, quote, "How the hell do any of you drive anywhere? The wilderness is right next to you." Anyway, I've only driven the route a handful of times, and always exclusively at night between the hours of 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. The route itself also passes by like 3 graveyards, and the area itself is usually laden with heavy fog. It's genuinely disturbing if you allow yourself to be sucked into the ambience. I drive a lot for my job, and for some reason this road has always filled me with dread and anxiety, and that was before anything weird has happened on it. I'll detail 2 of my experiences in Greentext form. I'll try and keep them brief. Point 1 of them happened literally the other night, and I've been meaning to make this thread because it inspired me so much. I haven't encountered anything supremely paranormal, so this sticks out. I guess most of you probably can't relate, but if you have any other creepy highway or road stories, then post them up. First story. Be me, about a year ago. First time driving up to my buddy's house. Following Google Maps. About an hour and a half drive. It's around 7:30 p.m., freshly dark. Load up some music and start driving. First thing that surprises me is how secluded these roads are. This can't surely be the fastest way to my buddy's house. Follow the road as best I can, otherwise get there without an incident. Have a good time with my friend's family and chat about the drive up. He agrees that it's definitely a trek.
I blew a tire on the drive once. Was stuck out there for an hour waiting for AAA. Right in the middle of a woods, next to a swamp. Pretty creepy, man.
Tell him that I wasn't looking forward to the drive back, but that I'll manage. Don't drink or do drugs or anything due to the unpredictability of the road. When it's time to leave, about 2 a.m. or so, I decide to lean into my fear. I load up one of those creepy stories YouTube videos that's like 3 hours long. The drive isn't nearly 3 hours, so that should keep me awake. Get a coffee and chug it at a 24-hour convenience store and start the drive back down. The video works great. Random stories about skinwalkers and ghosts and spooky shit. I'm pretty tired too, so I keep swearing I'm seeing stuff in the corners of my headlights. Enjoying myself despite being creeped out. Keep driving. Get pretty into some stories, other ones I tune out and think about other stuff. Pull over to take a piss in the woods. Nothing creepy happens. Eventually the video cuts out whilst I'm driving. Check my phone to see if I lost internet connection. The video is over. It was at least 3 hours long. Like 3 hours 19 minutes or something. Look at the time, and it's after 5 in the morning. I had been driving for the entire duration of the video. Check the Google Maps and it says I'm still a half hour out from my destination. I lost like 2 hours of time that night. No explanation why. Second story. Happened just the other night. Drive up to buddy's house. This time I stay cognitive the entire time due to my previous experience with Route 149. It was a cooler night, really foggy too. Once again the drive up was uneventful. Besides an weird amount of roadkill and passing cars with one headlight out. I've learned my lesson, and during the drive down, around 11 p.m. this time, I stay to pop country radio stations instead of spooky shit. Once I hit Route 149 I didn't see a single other car. On every other road, downtown Hillsborough, Route 77, and then later on Route 3 there were a good deal of drivers. Route 149 was a dead zone. Very eerie. Whilst driving I'm racing down the hills to get home as fast as possible. All the roadkill got me worried about passing animals. A common concern of my area, it can kill you. Eventually hit a sharp left turn that twists around and down a hill. Going pretty damn fast. Once I hit the bottom there's several figures in the road. Like 4 to 5 deer right in the middle of the road. They're all gathered around and all look directly at me as I go down the hill. Hit the brakes a few dozen yards in front of them, my truck screeches to a halt. They're all very fucking dirty. Like it looked like they had been rolling in mud. None of them moved for a good few seconds. I'm genuinely frozen, I knew something was wrong. Just then at the side of the road I see something emerge. It's another deer, but it was on its hind legs. I couldn't tell if it was leaning against a tree or just standing. It was also dirty but also covered in thick shades of brown and maroon. Maybe blood or maybe it had red fur, I don't know. Its eyes weren't black, they were pure white. Like cue balls. Staring right at me from the tree lean at the edge of my headlights glow. It was tall as fuck, overshadowed my truck. Think, skinwalker and floor it out of there. The deer disperse as I take off towards them. Drive home fast as fuck. Fuck Route 149. Bad vibes. I'll also point out the town of Hillsborough is generally a little off. It's not too distinct when you're there, but it seems to have a seedier underbelly. It doesn't seem too different from any other small New England town, but it actually is far more sinister. It has one of the highest crime rates per capita of any New Hampshire community. This is including the generally secluded and impoverished northern part of the state. For some reason, Hillsborough brings out the worst in its community. It's cursed. I swear.